These $289 hearing aids claim to cut out background noise and change the game for affordability. But are they any better than a pair of AirPods, let alone the prescription hearing aids they claim to be similar to? I mean, reviewers seem to rave about Atom Pro 2. Well, join me as we unbox these hearing aids, try them in the real world, and put them under the microscope in our lab. I have been dying to make this video for years, so finally, let's do it. Hi everyone, I am Dr. Stephen Taddy with Hearing Tracker, so let's dive into this hands-on and lab-tested review of Audien Atom Pro 2. Honestly, I am thrilled to finally be going over these devices and sharing my thoughts with all of you. Now, I've been testing Audien products for years, and I don't know about you, but I can't go on social media without seeing their advertisements. I also tend to see very positive reviews online for Audien hearing aids, but are they really worth all of the hype? Now, the Atom Pro 2 is Audien's latest flagship hearing aid featuring their new A2 Pro chip, which is supposed to offer advanced background noise cancellation. Some key features beyond the A2 chip include their portable 2-in-1 charger. There actually is a nice UV cleaning light built into the case, and that's honestly a nice touch that we still don't really see in the prescription hearing aid world. They also offer a smaller shell size that Audien is calling completely in the canal or CIC, but you can clearly see them in my ears, so I do feel that calling them a CIC might be a slight stretch. Let's quickly go over some product specs. They do not offer hands-free calling, they are rechargeable and have an impressive battery life of around 24 hours. There is no app, there is no telecoil, and I could not find a published IP rating. Now, that means you probably shouldn't go scuba diving with your Atom Pro 2. These hearing aids are also preset-based OTC hearing aids, and they come preloaded with 4 hearing modes, meaning there is no hearing test. But we'll find out later how easy they are to tailor to a common age-related hearing loss with those 4 presets. Now, you can purchase Atom Pro 2 online and at various retailers for around $289, making them fairly affordable compared to many hearing aids currently available. Now, I am really eager for you to hear Atom Pro 2, and we'll be comparing them directly to Apple AirPods Pro 2 later on. But before we dive into all of that, here is our scorecard summarizing all of our testing. Overall, Atom Pro 2 received a hearing tracker score of 2.8 out of 5. Next, let's start by taking a look at what comes in the box. Inside the box, you will find various user documents, and it's definitely worth giving these a read, because Atom Pro 2 do not come with any other form of guidance from a hearing care provider. Here's the portable charging case for Atom Pro 2, and inside of it you will see both the left and right earpieces. However, I did not see any indication that they are ear specific, so you should be able to use them interchangeably. You can see that blue glowing light on the inside, and that is the UV cleaning element. On the bottom of both devices are your contact points for charging, and then on the very bottom of the case we have our USB-C input for charging the portable carrying case. You'll find various ear tips, some cleaning tools. Also included is a USB-C to USB-A cable and wall plug. So Audien Hearing Atom Pro 2 hearing aids have a reported battery life of 24 hours, which is fantastic. It should easily, or it will easily last your entire day. They'll take around 3 to 4 hours to recharge, and you can expect the case, which is a portable charging case, to offer an additional roughly 3 full charges. Charging them is pretty straightforward. You can use the included USB-C to USB-A cable, plug in the charging case on the bottom, and then also use the wall plug. One update that Audien has included with the Atom Pro 2 is the button size, which is a little bit larger. It was rather dismal on some of their older hearing aids, but this one they've increased the overall size of it, making it much easier to press. Okay, so this is where we would normally talk about wireless features and dive into the mobile app. However, the Atom Pro 2 does not have any wireless capabilities. Now, this may come as a surprise, at least it did to me, since I've seen them advertised online as being wireless. Now, I'm honestly not sure what that's referring to. Initially, I thought it was the portable charging case, but after looking at it, I noticed that there are metal charging contacts. I also thought that maybe it was then the wireless communication between both Atom Pro 2 hearing aids, but as you have to make programming changes with the buttons to each ear individually, that points to them not communicating wirelessly. So really, I don't know where the word wireless comes from here. With that said, wireless features are extremely useful. They generally offer more customization and can significantly enhance the customization that you experience. But to be fair, the lack of wireless functionality also makes the Atom Pro 2 a bit more streamlined and simple to use from a certain perspective. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get out into the world and find some background noise to see how the Audien A2 Pro chip performs in action. But before we run out the door, if you have found this review helpful, please consider subscribing and or clicking the like button. It really does help us, and it also helps others looking for hearing help. All right, well, for part one of today's grand adventure, I met up with a friend of mine at a local restaurant, and I'll definitely say it was fairly noisy, as you'd expect at a typical cafe setting around lunch. I ended up using Program 2, which is the dedicated program setting for these devices. Ultimately, I was struggling to hear my friend who was sitting across from me, but we have more to do today, so let's keep going. So I was looking through the user manual to double check what the programs are on Audien Atom Pro 2, and I came across this little table that shows boops, which is just a funny term for it. So outside of restaurants, I say hardware stores are one of the noisiest places I go. There was one particular sound that I was looking for, and if you ever visit them, you might be able to guess what it was. Okay, so after all of that, I think Home Depot is probably one of the noisiest places I go on a regular basis. And compared to all the other hardware shops, it's almost comical how often they have that beeping noise going with their forklifts, and it's perfectly fine for safety reasons, but for anyone who struggles with loud sounds and annoying sounds like that, it can take you through the roof. But anyway, on that note of just all the sounds in there, the cart rolling on the concrete, other people, the PA system, I don't really get a sense that the noise reduction is working or that there is much noise reduction. And maybe I am comparing that a lot to the more advanced, newer AI-based noise reduction features. However, even if you roll it back to just standard like multi-microphone directionality, I don't believe these hearing aids have that. In fact, if we look at them, you can see there's that little hole on the back, and that should be the port for the microphone. And there's only one of those per hearing aid. I really don't hear directional microphones working in these if they do have them, which it doesn't seem like it. Now, beyond that, I would describe these as sounding very kind of mechanical. And when I listen to them, there's a lot of mid-range. Another way of describing it is it almost sounds very nasally like this without a lot of high end. And unfortunately, that isn't where a lot of speech clarity comes from. We need the higher frequencies around 3,000 hertz, which is actually the most important frequency range for speech clarity. And if that doesn't make sense, feel free to leave me a comment below, and we can either make another video on it, or I can link out to another video where Matthew Alsop has described this. Beyond that, one other issue that I did run into while in the stores is trying to switch between the various programs and then adjusting the volume. So both of these hearing aids have a button on the very back. However, the downside that I have experienced is it's so much easier to press the button. So when I go to push the hearing aid in my ear, I generally will press that button and either adjust the volume or change the program. And this creates several problems. You can get a difference between the ears, which is, I think, where I'm sitting right now, and it can be rather disorienting to have different programs and or different volumes, and it just kind of puts you off balance from a hearing standpoint. But pushing that button does cause the hearing aid to go deeper in your ear, and if you have more sensitive ear canals, it can be, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but maybe we can say you'll notice it. But those are all the notes that I had while I was out and about today. So let's get back to the lab and check out the results from HearAdvisor. All right, now it's time to see how Audien Atom Pro 2 perform in the lab. This is where things often get interesting. Here are the Atom Pro 2's results across HearAdvisor's 5 sound quality metrics. Since Atom Pro 2 hearing aids don't allow for much customization, there were no available adjustments beyond the initial fitting, so both the initial and tune results are identical. Atom Pro 2 ultimately received a sound grade of C, indicating average performance, with noticeable limitations in sound quality compared to some other products. For example, while feedback handling was good, speech and quiet and speech and noise scores were less than 1 out of 5. This means the estimated speech benefit of Atom Pro 2 are only marginally better than if you were wearing no hearing aid at all. If you would like to learn more about HearAdvisor's tests, head over to HearAdvisor.com. Now let's listen to some Atom Pro 2 audio samples recorded in the HearAdvisor lab. We are going to listen to 3 clips. First, we'll start with a cafe without any hearing device. Then we'll switch to Atom Pro 2 using its default initial fit. Now, since the initial and tune fits were identical due to the device's limited adjustments, I have replaced that third clip with a similar recording using AirPods Pro 2. And the reason why I'm doing this is to give you a better sense of what a similarly priced, tech-forward alternative can offer in the same environment. For the most accurate experience, be sure to wear headphones and keep your volume consistent throughout all these recordings.
Oh yeah? Dang, maybe I can finally get out there and do some yard work.
Yard work? My mind went to breaking out the grill.
Yeah? Dang, maybe I can finally get out there and do some yard work.
Yard work? My mind went to breaking out the grill.
Yeah? Dang, maybe I can finally get out there and do some yard work.
Yard work? My mind went to breaking out the grill.
Yeah? Dang, maybe I can finally get out there and do some yard work.
Yard work? My mind went to breaking out the grill.
Now, if those sound samples made a difference for you, or if they didn't, I'd love to hear your take in the comments. For example, did you notice an improvement in speech clarity with the Atom Pro 2? Or maybe you prefer the AirPods Pro 2? I would honestly be very curious to hear your thoughts because sometimes one person's experiences and preferences are very different than someone else's. There is generally also a difference between what's good for sound quality and what's good for speech intelligibility, and it's fairly easy to kind of confuse those 2 points when listening to sound samples like these. So if you did have a preference, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and maybe we can open a discussion on the differences between those two and hopefully then help people understand how better to use these sound samples. Okay, so after all of that, how do Atom Pro 2 actually hold up? And really, what's the deal with all of those glowing online reviews? Well, for me, the bottom line is I just can't get behind the hype surrounding Atom Pro 2. I'm honestly sorry to say it, but in my testing and that at HearAdvisor, we found limited speech and noise benefits, and that is one of Audien's main claims, especially with this new product. Add to that the lack of features, no app control, no wireless streaming, and when you put it all together, I really struggled to see the value, even at a price below $300. Now let's take for comparison Apple's AirPods Pro 2. They can be programmed based on your hearing, or you can take an app-based hearing test. You also get volume and tone controls, ambient noise reduction, conversation boost, active noise cancellation, Bluetooth streaming, and more. Now that's a lot of functionality for a similar or even lower price. Now, I am not trying to be overly negative or dismissive. AirPods Pro 2 are not perfect either. And you may absolutely find some benefit with Atom Pro 2, and some benefit is without question better than no benefit. But I do want you to be wary of marketing claims that imply directly, indirectly, or marketing statements that dance around the claim that OTC devices for a few $100s are comparable to prescription hearing aids fit by a quality provider. After testing nearly every hearing aid on the market, I have yet to see it. Some offer a great value, but believe me, if and when we do test that device, I'll be singing it from the rooftops so you can hear me. With all of that said, Atom Pro 2 may be a good fit for you if you're looking for an easy-to-use device with really no bells or whistles. They are fairly straightforward to use. They also might be a good option if you are looking for an in-the-ear style OTC hearing aid. While I would not describe them as a CIC or completely in the ear like Audien does, they are fairly discreet. And lastly, in the greater scheme of things, Atom Pro 2 are still relatively affordable. Now, on the other side of the aisle, HearAdvisor testing showed minimal benefit for a typical age-related hearing loss. And remember, that is what OTC devices are designed to fit. This aligned with my experiences as well after using them and comparing them to other hearing aids. This is due largely in part to them offering limited high-frequency amplification, which is critical for speech understanding. If that doesn't make sense, leave me a comment and I'd be happy to make another video on the topic discussing how high frequency gain or amplification is associated with speech clarity. Now, another point is their simplicity. With only one style, color, and a few ear tip options, you don't have much in the way of customization. Lastly, as we have already discussed, you will not find any wireless streaming or accessories with Atom Pro 2. That said, after testing Audien's products for several years, I can say they have improved with each release. So I am hopeful that their next product may offer a more compelling balance of performance and price. Again, I don't want to just seem like I'm being overly negative towards Audien. Let's end on a positive note. I really do think Audien will eventually get it right. Well, all right, everyone, that wraps up this video. If you're looking for more details, you can check out our full write-up at hearingtracker.com. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.